What's up, everybody? This is Colin Dijs on the brand new Agency 3980 channel. Today, we're starting it off big with the first episode of our brand new podcast, which will be myself and Michael Pump, our Debaroo and Agency Sales Director. Michael, give a quick introduction about your big life story.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Cool. So yeah, my name is Michael. Brand new here together with Colin at the agency as the sales director. Gained my experience mainly in Australia, where I worked as a sales director in a direct sales company, mainly face-to-face, focused mainly on face-to-face. Did that for 4.5 years, where I started off just being a sales agent and worked my way up to become the sales manager within the business and ran a couple of different teams in there. Mainly focused on charity at the start, and then eventually we expanded to higher ticket level sales, and we did a little bit of online marketing. Mainly build up a little bit of capital there, which I turned into real estate investing here in the Netherlands now.
Real estate. The real
But
money.
the real money, just starting off there. Here back in Holland. I've been back in the Netherlands for a year now. It's been a year already that I've been back here. And now I'm excited to start this new adventure here together with you, with the Agency 3980.
Awesome. Going into the digital space, obviously, sales trainer, mindset, the whole thing. So today we'll focus definitely on the mindset part, the choices an entrepreneur has to make, especially in the performance marketing space that we're in. Obviously, many difficult choices on a day-to-day basis. However, you can train a path towards success. So inside the Debaroo platform, I do weekly live trainings, 3 hours a week. If you're interested in this, you can check out the link in the description. We're running a summer promo for only $47, which gives you free access to myself for 3 hours a week, a tracker, a landing page builder, and an insane entrepreneurial community. But enough of that. The real question is, which I saw the other day, which kind of amazes me, is that many people either regret choices they have made or are not that, I don't know, strong in making the choices. You know, the decision-making process varies. Michael, what would you say would be an indicator of having, I don't know, trouble making decisions?
I think first of all, you should never regret making certain decisions, unless you do something really, really stupid that you just shouldn't have done. But any type of decision that you make within business or your personal life should never be a regret, because you always learn from all the decisions that you make. You learn from all the steps that you take, in your business life and your personal life.
Right.
The only thing that you should regret probably is the decisions that you didn't make, or the things that you end up not doing that you wanted to do. Because either it'll be a lesson, or you actually progress making certain steps and decisions. So that's the main.
Obviously, yeah, that's like more in like the hippie circle, right? Touchy feely. Let's say it's about 100 grand, yeah, which is quite a significant amount of money. I've made over 8 figures in just affiliate commissions. Then we have our own products. You've been here with us for about 2.5 weeks, pushing over 2.5 grand in sales, which is absolutely ridiculous. Question is, however, you haven't made any costly mistake yet. I know when you would make a mistake and then look back, okay, let's apply it to the performance marketing. Yeah. You run a campaign, you run, let's say, a rotator of offers. And let's say you put in the wrong offer inside that rotator, you run traffic, but the traffic goes basically to a 404 page not found.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do in that scenario? Because then the advice is lesson learned, but yeah, it's still 100 grand that you lost.
Yeah, but then it still comes back to the same thing, where you're always going to make mistakes. You hope you just find out quickly, so you don't lose too much money. But either myself or either yourself, you would find out and be like, hey, Michael, look, this is something new for you. You've done this, and this wrong. Shouldn't have done that. Let's fix it. And then you fix it. but especially when it comes down to, bigger numbers, when it comes down to 100 grand, 200 grand mistakes, well, you should learn from that mistake, especially because it's about big numbers, and then you'll know you're never going to do it again. If you're going to make mistake after mistake after mistake, and the same type of mistakes, where you're probably either just not paying attention, so you just don't like and enjoy what you're doing, or you're just doing something that doesn't fit with, you know, your mindset, your mentality, or your interests. Because if you're
So
interested and passionate in what you're doing, well, you're not going to make the same mistake twice, especially when there's money involved.
fair, that makes sense. So cut the mistake early, that would reduce the cost. And
Yeah.
then if you're really fucking up the entire time, must mean that you either are not interested in what you're doing, or you're just too, I don't know, reluctant. It probably is not your money, right? As soon as you start spending your
Yeah,
own
you just don't
money,
care.
and that's
Care
something
factor
I
might be
see
low.
with the media buyers, right? Especially media buyers coming from in-house position. So they run display, native, whatever on scale for like agencies, right? And then they need to go on their own, and they think I can just repeat that same process and it will work fine. But it doesn't, because now all of a sudden it is your own money that you're
There's an
playing with.
emotional attachment, which is actually funny. One of our potential clients that I spoke to a couple of days back, he told me the same thing. So he's a media buyer, and he has a couple of clients that he's helping out with their campaigns. And then he told me, well, I want to do it for myself. Well, but I struggle. I can make, you know, good money for all of my clients, and it's going really, really well. But as soon as I have to apply the same systems for myself, it just doesn't work the same way. Or I get too emotional attached to, you know, my own money, and I make I make emotional decisions rather than logical.
It
It should
amazes me,
always
you
be
know.
logic over emotion.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it comes through experience though, because if you would line up a campaign, how we do with the coaching clients, right? I mean, it just, you apply this rule, you apply this rule. This is the budget, this is how you should test, and this is how you should optimize. It's literally a golden path towards success. Like if you implement this, the success rate is 98%, but you have to see
Yeah.
through the initial ad spend hurdle, because the investment has to be made, you recuperate the loss at the end, right? The turnaround point. However, you see people, well, I can imagine what it would feel like. I'm not that kind of guy. If you see a campaign going from minus 200 to minus 600 to minus 800, it's faith. Do you have faith in the system? Because I build it myself. I teach it to all our guys here. You guys know it works because you've seen it firsthand. But what would happen if you would be an outsider? I would show you our system, the results that we've had, the results that others have had, but then it appears it doesn't work for you. What would you do in that situation?
Well, then it comes down to, do you believe in the whole, you know, business model that we're applying, that we're doing? So obviously it's paid advertising. We work in paid advertising business. So you got to all understand, you got to know that it takes money to make money. Eventually you need to invest the
Right.
money before you get something back, which is in most cases the case, but especially with what we do, because we do paid advertisements, means you need to put money into your ad spend before you're going to see any returns on it. So you gotta have a little bit of a faith,
And
but
hopefully see
also
some
just,
returns, right?
yeah, and hopefully you're gonna see results, you know, ASAP. The faster the better for yourself. But you gotta know that there's a certain time that goes over it, you know, when you do your testing phase before you actually gonna see any returns on it. And then it just comes down to being calm and not having any, you know, fears from inside that's gonna make you
Right.
make wrong decisions.
It's like this, yeah, because this is like the best analogy I would be able to give somebody. Is like, okay, you go through elementary school, high school, university, yeah, you spend 16, 18, 20 years trying to learn basic communication skills, sales skills, whatever, and then it stops. All of a sudden you go from nothing to repeating the same skill structure. Okay, that's fine, right? That's a whole different podcast episode on its own. What to do after that reduced stimulants. However, in this scenario, when you're picking up a new format, yes, people pay us $1,000 for this course because it is 20 times worth it. However, it is still structure education based. I mean, it takes 90 days to grasp the concept. Doesn't mean you will make money. It takes 90 days, which is a long time in general for somebody who's impatient. My favorite topic, instant gratification.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay, talk your shit.
Well, the it's the whole social media hype, I guess, that's going on right now about instant gratification. It's just like all the get rich quick schemes, which is clever marketing. Unfortunately, a lot of people buy into it because they see all these Lamborghinis and these Ferraris, and they see all those jets and the nice yachts and stuff, and they're like, damn, all right, cool, I want to get the same thing. But they don't want to get it in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, and they definitely don't want to put in work for 5, 10, or 20 years. They want to get it now. And then you see stuff about like, I can teach you how to make 100K a month in the first month already. I can teach you how to make 5K a day.
But I really can though.
But you really, really can if you put in effort and work, and
Okay.
you're patient.
So that's probably the setup, right? Like, I mean, I wouldn't blame the person selling it because they're just a marketer, right? Definitely.
Yeah, so it's clever
responsibility on the person. Once you commit, then you find the initial hurdles, right? And that 1% that gets to watch that jet continuously overcomes those hurdles, right? Like, I mean, we have a huge parking lot outside our office, 60 Bentleys right there, but there's not a single one because we invested into another business, right? Expand to not buy one Bentley, buy 60 of them, or buy 2 jets, right?
Which is a different mindset.
I mean, yeah, at that point, but that's the initial step, right? You either overcome that hurdle, the first one, or you don't. And after the first one, there's only 5% of the people left. And the second one, there's only 2% left. And then it goes down, diminishing returns for that specific person if you do not keep pushing. What you said about, well, I think, one thing is, how would you say that in a nice way? The objectification of women, right? On Instagram, on TikTok. I mean, fuck OnlyFans, man. That makes a fuck ton of money. And that's one of the drivers while men feel so pressured to perform, right? To get some fucking pussy. That's it. I mean, the realistic result is that this is just me speaking some random shit, right? These are not facts. But if you're in your 20s, you think you need to make a lot of money to buy shit to attract women. But if you build wealth or generational wealth and do not give attention to women, the women who are hosts between the age of 18 and 30 realize at their 30s that being a hoe doesn't make your life comfortable, right? They need to get to men who have wealth to be comfortable, and 99 out of 100 times these men have settled down with more qualified women with ambition, with like-minded success, which might not be like the major key women, well, maybe the key of the cocaine, but not the Instagram hosts, because they objectify themselves so much, as do men, right? Don't get me wrong, it's not all women, but that's just a really good example. And then men are simping over women on Instagram and TikTok and buying these online digital subscriptions, where I'm like, we need to build the next OnlyFans, bro. Like, I don't want to objectify or endorse that system, but we're here to make money, right? We're business people. And that would be such a good opportunity because you expose the base marketing problem solution. Men are naturally programmed to
supply and
desire.
demand, right?
Right?
It's supply and demand.
And
especially
nature,
in the world
men
that we're living
decide
in
it.
now.
Yeah, men just desire sex.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't get around that. That's true. but especially the world we're living in now. And then again, it comes down to the whole social media that's, changing the world that we live in a little bit. People, want that instant gratification when it comes down to, business side of things, money side of things, so that they're trying to find a way where they can have quick access to money. The same comes down to, woman, or on the other end, man, woman, they look for man, but they want to have instant access. They don't want to go through the whole process of going on dates anymore and investing time and talking, etc. So they'll just either find find easy and quick ways to get women. So they'll find the type of woman that are just easy and quick to get to, or they'll just go to something like OnlyFans, which is again a real clever business model.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I don't think OnlyFans would have been that great of a business when you go back 20 years ago.
100%.
I'm not sure, but I don't think if you go back 20 years ago,
you got,
and demand, the
Playboy
mindset
mentioned
of people.
Playboy mentioned at that time.
All right, yeah,
but
that's still a little bit
similar.
different.
Yeah, but it plays in on the weakness men have towards sexual desire of women. However, it's not necessarily that is a problem, because the mutual chemistry will always be there between male and female. That's how how life works. The problem here is that psychological, these men are portraying a digital formative relation with these content creators, where they honestly have thoughts that they own a piece of this person by purchasing a
like they know
subscription.
each other. Yeah, they
It's
think they
like
know
quite
each other.
delusional.
It is pretty sad.
If you imagine that, you know, the big adult content websites, I wouldn't know them, but if you would know them, then let's say the top 5 websites, they make over, let's say each of them probably do 100,000 conversions a day on single opt-in adult dating, right? And these are like classic CPA offers, which convert like crazy, like the classic MILF hunters, like all these type of offers. But this barrier of entry that you would normally have becomes lower because of this OnlyFans stimulants. Right now, when Instagram was first starting out, you had people who were in bikini pictures and they were sluts, right? If you had a bikini picture or a picture where you were wearing a hot pants, slut. Right now, you need to show your, what's it called? The underboob and hard nipples, like you just have an ice bath, right? And then it's no surprise in the bio, there's a link towards the OnlyFans. And in this scenario, are they hosts or are they not hosts? I think that's like an open discussion in general. But the same thing for men, right? I don't know any men who do this except the one guy you just spoke about before. But that's also not a straight guy, right? So maybe for him, that space, it makes more sense.
Yeah. So there's a big gay scene, which, you know, makes the people in that scene on OnlyFans or in that branch, they make real good money. Yeah, they make real good money. And that's not because, like, I think in the gay scene, there's a bigger, it's I
think it's
know,
more normal.
how would you say that?
They have grinded
yeah, it's
for
more,
years.
it's normal. Yeah. So it's a lot more, you know, normal for all the people in that scene to do stuff like that and to pay money for that and to put themselves out there like that. It's just normal. And they don't say to each other, or they don't talk about each other in like a bad way. They just think like it's okay to do stuff like that, and they, you know, cheer each other up to do stuff like that. Whereas with, you know, straight people, it was a little bit more, at first, at least a couple of years back, it would have been a bit weird because people were like, oh, you're cheap. I mean, you're putting yourself out there like that. It's cheap.
I think it's still weird. It depends on which common group you fall in. I think the people with OnlyFans are your regular X on the beach, Temptation Island kind of people. And
yeah, it depends on which world you live in.
It is very unlikely that somebody in our circle would ever start an OnlyFans, because anybody with a net worth over 5 million, why would they subject themselves to this? Money, right? I mean, if you need money,
it comes down to the same thing. It's quick money, instant gratification.
But I mean, like,
you could start an OnlyFans page, post a couple of pictures of yourself without a t-shirt on with a six-pack, and you're gonna make good money, which is clever if you just want good money. But then again, it depends on how do you want to, you know, represent yourself. How do you want to be known?
If you're either a stripper or a hooker, then I mean, fine, right? It's the same thing. But if you are a regular person who is in need of urgent money, then just accept the consequences that it brings, because it's basically semi-pornography. And if you, well, do it for attention, then you belong to the streets. Simple as that. I mean, then you owe. But like, I think which amazes me when somebody talks about OnlyFans, I don't even know anybody on OnlyFans by name, right? Like, it doesn't interest me at all. However, what I do look at is, for example, the merchant accounts. Like, they need to process so much money. They have like specific merchant IDs which process the money for them, like chargeback, subscription rates, all these things. Where I'm looking at, whoa, damn, that's pretty insane. What kind of ecosystem would be on the back end of OnlyFans to support such a major organization where you're talking about millions in billables a day? If we're not talking revenue, probably 10 to 100 million a day, right? Worldwide. Where in every problem lies an opportunity, not only business-wise, but to study from it, to learn from it, right? At least something. If you would make OnlyFans 2.0, what would you say would be something to consider? Get as many hosts as possible.
Yeah, easy access. Well, you just want to get a couple of people that are like, I don't know, famous in that scene, in that world, that start doing
Right.
it. Get a couple of like influencers that are part of that scene, part of those type of people that live in that world, that have followers that are, you know, kind of on a similar mindset, live in a similar world. And then the ball will just start rolling by itself. If you see 10 people starting a new OnlyFans 2.0, and 10 of them are making real good money, and they're like, you know, a little bit of they have a bit of a name in that world, well, then the ball will start rolling automatically. Everybody will start following.
Right. Well, I think it's like a real opportunity for anybody interested in that space. I think the adult and dating verticals, they don't interest me in general. You know, it's just something that you either have to be keen on or not, just like crypto. You either like that vertical or you don't.
Yeah.
In that scenario, I wouldn't really endeavor into something like that. However, again, when we come back to the foundational elements of marketing, obviously a huge opportunity when you play into the sexual desires of men or women, right? Either or, that really works. However, in the day and age where, for example, Clubhouse, right, had like, I think 1 million app installs, like iOS, because they didn't have an Android app. And now it's at like, let's say 120,000. So they couldn't keep up with the growth. They had too many problems with the platform, and they could have been the next big thing, right? Everybody thought it was going to be huge. Everybody was on Clubhouse in these meeting rooms. I've never installed it or had a look at it, but there is
I don't even know what it is.
No, it's like this app where somebody goes into a club room and other people can join and they just talk and everybody listens, like a live podcast kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be pretty big, but at that time, I think it was like 7 months ago, you weren't really in the online marketing space. But don't worry, little Jedi, I will teach you. It will be okay. But in general, yeah, I mean, that shows the upcoming rise and continuation of OnlyFans that is genius, right? There was just an opportunity in the market. They found a problem and a clear solution. Let me see if I can find the revenue they have.
Funny how we were going to talk about mindset a lot, and now we've been talking for like 50 minutes.
Okay.
OnlyFans.
Blah, blah, blah. 390 million pre-tax profit. Holy shit.
Huh?
That's exactly what I said like an hour ago, right? I said 35 million a month.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. The average earning per content creator is $180 per month. Right?
180?
Yeah, the average.
Really?
Yeah, Jam Wolfie is the #1 content creator. I don't know who the fuck that is. How much girls do you make on OnlyFans? 100 and up to 10,000 every month. Anyway, if you're a girl, little disclaimer, and you're watching this and you're OnlyFans, do you have fun? Get that bag, girl. But yeah, in terms of decision-making, confidence, all these things, I think it degenerates confidence in men. That's one, to approach women, to talk to women. But this also applies because they're intrinsic core values of a human being. This translates into healthy relationships becoming toxic, or business indecisiveness because you're afraid of what's to come. Right? And if you do not jump over the hurdle, what happens is everybody jumps and you don't jump. This happens 2 times and you're gone, right? The competition is over.
Behind.
And that's the thing, you know. Did I show you that video of Dan Pena with the lion and the zebras?
No.
I was like, the zebras, they're running and there's a lion waiting. It's like,
there's
he's waiting,
one waiting there, yeah. I've seen
and then
it,
he's like, yeah, it's the fucker. And then bang, he comes and he takes the thing. It's basically the same thing. Well, people are deciding on, oh, should I run native or should I run display? Bitch, we ran it all and we made 100 grand in 1 week, right? Because we were willing to invest 10,000 and be willing to lose it. Now we get the reward.
But that's again the same thing. You gotta make a certain decision and you gotta stick with it and just go for it. And then, you know, you gotta have a little bit of patience. Sure, you gotta develop skills. Sure, you gotta put in time and effort. Sure, but eventually you just gotta do something and stick with it for a while and keep trying and developing. And if it's going to go wrong, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, it's fine. It's part of it. Everybody's made mistakes before they got to a certain level. And that's, again, it constantly keeps coming back to, the whole social media world that we live in. They see somebody make good money, or they see somebody run a good business, and they're like, oh, damn, he would have just started that at some point, decided to start that, and he would have been a millionaire the next day. But it didn't go like that, right? They would have had a bunch of hurdles along the way. They would have had a bunch of challenges along the way. They would have had to overcome so many struggles, and they had to put in so much time and effort. They would have lost a bunch of money before they made money. And it always works like that, but people don't look that deep.
Yeah. I mean, like, the days become the weeks, become the months, become the years of the experience. But it all starts at, when I used to talk with a lot of sales calls. Now you do most of our sales calls with your team. But the many things I heard is like, yeah, what is your goal for, let's say, 2021? Yeah, 7 figures. Well, have you ever made 2 figures?
4 figures.
$10. Yeah. No, I've never done anything online. Well, 7 figures is a lot of money. I mean, that's $2,845 a day, if I believe correctly, like something like that, between 2,800 and 3,400 or something. No, it's definitely 2,800 range. Anyway, what is important is that realistic? How we do things, a 90-day period, it has to be realistic towards the goal. People are like, yeah, I want to go from 0 to 10K in 90 days. All right. How much money do you have? 1K. That doesn't work.
So you want to time.
You probably need 50K to make 10K a month, because you need to learn the system and everything like that. And then you again come to unrealistic expectations combined with instant gratification, and you have the most toxic combination ever for business.
Which is why people quit.
And when you would say, if you look up the Chamber of Commerce, 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. After what is left, 95% fails in the next 5 years. So you have the 0% of the 5% that remained, probably around that percentage. So for every 100 businesses that start, 3 remain, or 2.5. The question is why? You change business model, you have all these other reasons, but the primary reason is you didn't expect it to be this hard. But if it would be easy, then everybody would do it. Why are 99% of people in jobs? That's the real question.
Yeah, because they don't have to deal with all the responsibilities and all the struggles and all the headaches. So they would just work for somebody and then let the other person deal with all the decision making and all the tough questions that need to be answered. And then they'll just do their job and just come in every single day, clock in, do what they're supposed to be doing, leave, and switch off.
Yeah, I would say you get paid to the degree to the problems which you solve. And if you solve very little problems, you get paid very little. And the equation there is very simple, we, as in you and myself, put in 100 hours a week on the schedule. But yeah, why question that, you earn 25 times the average income? Why? Because we wouldn't work 25%, but it's the experience, it is the knowledge, and those things are all harvested over time. So at the end of the day, the best thing you could do is pick up a book. And I'm not saying don't read any fucking fiction bullshit, only read self-help, right? If you read, I'm a slow reader. I do audiobooks, right? Because my eyesight all fucked up. Let's say you would read 1 book every month. You read 12 books a year. You read 12 more books than the average person, which reads 0 books.
Yeah.
I mean, like the books we have here. I mean, here we got the bullshit book. I gave this to somebody because I didn't like it. Right? That person returned it to me because it was finished. What's it called? The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. I thought this book was a piece of shit. That doesn't mean there's not things to learn from this book, right? There's still 5 to 12. Have you read this?
Yeah, I've read through it. It's a basic book. It's like there's a bunch of basic sales.
10
sales
core
and mindset.
influencing tonalities. Let's talk about tone of voice, emotion of the human brain, basically what we're talking about right now, but then in the book. However, I also have different ones, which are a lot more powerful, but you would need to, if you read this book first, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, then you have some experience and you can understand these books, which are really more hardcore. and a lot more boring. There's no images. If there's images, there are explainer graphs, all this
Yeah, it's
stuff.
not a hype book.
No, but it
It's a
explains.
knowledgeable book.
Turn your business into a sales machine with 100 million best practices of Salesforce.com. So this basically, the entire book takes Salesforce as an example. What is the best way to learn? You can either pioneer the route and get fucked up all the way. You're just thrown hurdles the entire time. Or you could learn from somebody who've done it before you, then go 90% of the way and just do 10% at the end different because you want to do your own thing. You don't want to do the exact same thing. Or take the learnings and apply to something else. I've spoken recently with some old students from like 2019, one of my first batch of things. Most of these people do not run Facebook anymore because it's barely doable.
All the time,
right?
Yeah.
People have huge e-commerce empires. They have huge Amazon warehouses. They run display ads. They run huge SMS agencies. They have switched to social media agencies. But it all starts at the core, which was my help, which was advertising. So if you can do advertising online, you can also do sales over the phone. You just need a little bit of practice, and the human psychology is still the same. Take away the objection, give the pros, give one con to teach them into trustability, and then give them the hook close. You know, it's probably not that easy, but
well, in the end, it is. You just gotta practice it over and over and over again. Sales is always the same. Doesn't matter what you're selling, who you're selling to. Sure, you got to change your approach depending on their personality types. But all the types of sales, I've done like face-to-face sales where it was low ticket charity type of sales. I've done higher ticket over the phone. We've done it online. Like there's a bunch of different ways you could do sales, but it all comes down to the psychology of the human brain where you want to, change and adapt, and you want to persuade them into buying whatever it is that you're selling. So you learn how to do sales, you could do sales anywhere. Whether it'll be online, whether that'll be marketing, whether there'll be...
Yeah, it will just be the initial adjustment, the adjustment phase to go through.
But you'll know and learn. If you've done the basic type of sales, you've learned the fundamentals of it, then you could sell anything to anybody. You just got to understand what differences there are.
Sell me this book, Michael. What does he say? Sell me this pen, right?
Sell me this pen.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's a nice one, but I like the Boiler Room. I like that one a little bit better. In general, I mean, for a person to grasp the opportunity, I would mean the opportunity is there. I know a lot of people talk either very positive or very negative about entrepreneurship. Oh, it's amazing. You'll make generational wealth. You'll make 8 figures in your first year. Or don't do this. It's hard. It's difficult. But there is obviously an extreme balance, right?
Yeah.
It is Sunday, 5 p.m. Right now, and we're recording this little podcast. That requires some dedication, right? It is about 26 degrees outside. It is really nice weather.
Beautiful weather.
But it comes with a certain amount of respect towards what you're doing, and growth, audience entertainment, which this has to go online tomorrow. So we have to entertain our audience, because obviously at the end of the day, that gives us sales. It is this whole cycle, right? It is the balance between things. Yes, this is difficult. Yes, you have to go through it. And yes, you have to be able to solve problems. And if you solve problems in your own business and potentially for your customer clients, whatever it is you're doing, then in return, you get paid with money. And that's how basically the capitalistic world works.
You get paid for either the knowledge that you have, the knowledge that you bring, so the experience, or the problems that you solve, right? I think it's Elon Musk even that quoted, has like one of his quotes as well, where he talks about you get paid for the amount of problems that you're solving. The more problems and the bigger the problems there are that you're solving, well, the more you're going to get paid. Or the knowledge that you bring and the experience that you've gained over time will increase, the value that you bring. You're going to get paid for the value that you bring to whoever it may be.
To anything. I was talking with Ross the other day. Underwater welders, they make insane amount of money. But if you know how to weld properly, you already make good money. It's the fucking thing with the mask and like the metal.
Yeah, no, I would never do that underwater.
But if you can do it underwater, that apparently pays double or triple. I don't know. You're like 1 week offshore and you make, I don't know, $6,000 or something for 1 week. That's like one of the highest paying jobs I've by default heard of, which is not like management or director position, which I was like, damn. But apparently it requires some insane skill, just like football players, just like
that's a
One.
real like common example people give of like Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. The newest update, Lionel Messi gets paid 125 million a year from Barcelona to play football there. And you can ask people like, do you think he deserves to earn that amount of money for playing football? And you know, a group of people will be like, "Nah, that's bullshit. He just kicks against the ball. I can kick against the ball. Why the hell would somebody earn 125 million?" But that's, you know, people don't really think further and deeper down, you know, to the situation. But if you would
Right.
look at how much money he actually earns for the club, the amount of
Yeah, it's
shirts
fucking
that they're
insane.
selling with his
Yeah.
name on it, the amount of goals he's scoring, the amount of people that are in China watching television, which earns them more money. In total, he brings in way, way, way more than he earns.
But it's a fucking business, so they would never give him that money if they wouldn't make that money. I know
Yeah,
these
he
companies,
gets paid for
these
the value that he brings in.
the football clubs are in debt, right? But they are liquid in debt, which for a business is impossible, right? You cannot be in debt 900 million and still be liquid, because you need to make money to be liquid, like positive numbers.
Yeah,
These are like government deals. These are like the players for them are assets. As soon as they sell
yeah,
a player, the liquidity comes back, which means that
yeah,
if you are 900 million in debt, but you have 1.6 billion in players, that means you're still 700 million liquid, right? But I don't know about the FIFA, UEFA. I don't know how all these things work with football, and I'm not really interested in it. But people who complain about how expensive players are to transfer, this and this, don't watch football, don't go to fucking games, because you're endorsing it. Basically, by buying shirts, by going to these games, by buying like season tickets, you endorse this culture, which is great because a lot of people make a lot of money, right? It's just business. There would not be a single football recording being live
nobody
streamed
would watch it.
if it would not be for profit, right?
Yeah,
And that's oftentimes I get about, I don't know, 25, 30 messages a day, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to follow us, both of our profiles in the description down below. But we get
amen.
like Facebook messages like, "Hey, Colin, can you help me?" Well, we can help, but it requires a certain obligation for you to make a financial transaction for us to help, right? At least some commitment. It doesn't have to be millions. It's like $500, $200, whatever. But it's like, yeah, I don't have no money. How the fuck do you want to start a business with no money? Like, it's very blunt to say, but we don't run a charity, right? We run a business, and you want to run a business as well, and also another charity. And I mean, I've given people chances, which most of the time they fuck it up. I have two guys, of one which is from Turkey. Gur, if you're watching this, I will support you. I gave him an opportunity for a mastermind once, which was $5,000 the ticket, and he built it into a great business. He's still running. He's still doing all kinds of amazing shit for his family, you know, and he's giving back again what I gave him, that one opportunity. But I've done this 100 times, and 100 times people have disappointed me. There's like 1% of the people who take that opportunity and value it as much as I would value it. But it makes sense because a lot of people don't realize what you have. If you type in affiliate marketing on YouTube, you get fucking 100 channels, of which 90 of them are bullshit and 10 of them are so good. I watched one yesterday, so good, 1,600 subscribers, 1,600. The content was fucking so good. But then you have like hype videos about guys with 160,000 subscribers. They're not saying anything. They're saying a lot of things, but nothing at the same time, right? And it gets like fucking 200,000 views.
Well, I get quite a lot of people that come on a call with me and they want to get our help, they want to get our coaching, they want to get our courses, and then they've bought a course from somebody else, and they've paid money for it, and it's somebody that has like a big following on YouTube, and like a couple of his videos have been watched a bunch of times. There's a video I think was like 180,000 times like views.
100,000?
180,000 views. One of them was 200,000 something views. But then, you know, looks awesome on paper. Then they buy the course and it didn't give them anything. It was theoretical, like the knowledge wise wasn't really that good. But on the front end, the way he represents himself, it looks amazing. So people buy into all of that, but then they get shit back. And then they come to us and like, all right, cool, I want to get coaching, or I want to get a course. And then it just blows their mind how much information or how much value they get from the course or the coaching. And they're like, damn, I paid so much money for stuff before and it just didn't bring me anything, which
That's
is
a
sad.
difference, I think. It's a difference between, and I say this to everybody who's interested in our shit, is the method or skill. It's two different things. You can teach a simple method in one course, right? That's what these guys do, and that's fine. Like, don't blame them, blame the person buying it, because you usually have an itinerary and you can see what you're buying, right? They teach one specific skill, and then they teach one method, and as soon as that method doesn't work anymore, what do you have? Nothing. Right? Or you teach something which is difficult and you train skill. It takes time, it takes effort, but anytime something changes, you can adapt, right? Also,
so we teach people how to run a business, right?
Yeah, and not just like make 100 grand and then fuck it when changes happen. But in general, I would say if you see a course which has more than one traffic source, run. How can you ever teach two different traffic sources at the same time? I see Facebook ads, Google ads, and push ads in one course.
Only one, yeah.
They're so fucking different. One thing that I love, I did a training, I think 2 weeks ago, on audience behavior patterns, right? One of our strong topics, like how do people behave online? People were fucking mind blown. I asked them, like, what are the three factors of an audience? It's religion, culture, and politics, right? And economy is backed by politics. This is basically the same thing, because these are the decision makers. People didn't know. I'm like, give me example of 5 religions. They could only get 2. Fucking everybody says Islam and like Christianity, right? Where are the other religions? Well, these are still people in your audience. Like, I think 6% of the US citizens is Taoism, because I think it's the Chinese, I'm not sure, but Asian people. 6%, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where if you look at 8.5% are black males in the US of the population. You see a lot of black males, but do you ever see anybody practicing Taoism? No, but they're there. Really insane. That's how it goes. Well, that's the main idea. I think people do not realize that. Yeah, I don't know how to phrase it. It's simple and difficult at the same time. You can make it as difficult as you would like, but just know that if it looks too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right, and then I mean, the depth of the information is very important, because I would say service content is great for beginners, but I'd rather be gifted with something a little bit more advanced and then train myself through it, even though I don't understand everything. Oh, I have another good point. I have another insane point, right? Okay, so we have a lot of courses, right? So the courses are there. They're just like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is how it goes. And then there is like one specific method we use, and you can choose, right? So never give people a choice. Use A or use B. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. So you just give them, if you are writing ads, copywriter, don't give people a choice, buy this or this product, just give them one choice and they will convert. But then the question is, what do I do? Well, use your fucking brain, right? You're buying a course and it's like, oh, I just study exactly this, like this, right? And I don't look a little bit to the side. I just look at whatever I'm doing and that's it. And if that would be for a reason, because you know you're an emotional decision maker and you want to leave that out of the equation, I can respect that, right? But most often time, it's only one thing. Give it a guess. What would it be, Michael?
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
It's fucking laziness. It's because they're lazy, right? It's just because people are so used to being spoon-fed information, right? You type in Google.
Well, it takes creativity out, right? People aren't creative anymore these days because they don't have to think for themselves. People think either for them, they let other people think for them, or they just decide not to think at all, because you don't have to really anymore, the society that we live in. So they get lazy and they don't develop certain parts of their brain anymore where they need to be creative, where they need to make decisions, which comes back to all the way at the beginning, the start of the conversation. Decision making, people don't make decisions anymore. People don't get creative anymore because they just don't use all those parts of their brain. They don't have to. Yeah.
I was the other day, I was at this ice cream shop. Yeah, it's hot as fuck outside. They got fucking good ice creams. I was there. It had 1, 2, or 3 scoops. Yeah. And this guy asked, like, hey, I see there's not 4 scoops available. Is that not an option? Fuck! Are you this dumb? Of course, 4 scoops is just double the price of 2 scoops, you dumb fuck. I mean, it makes no fucking sense that you would even ask that question, like, can you not think? But they are so served with like McDonald's menus where it's just like A, B, C, and you cannot pick anything else, right? So these are the options. If you want a different option, then we do not have this available. But in like an ice cream shop, this is the foundation element where you see that people are not thinking, right?
Well, you want to get real for a second. People are just being sheeps these days, right? The majority of people are just sheeps. They just follow.
Oh, I thought you
And as
said
soon,
cheap. No, sheeps,
well,
yeah.
both. They're cheap as well, but cheap sheeps.
Yeah.
They're sheeps, and they don't have to think for themselves anymore. They just follow, and they just follow along with somebody. And as soon as you get them into a situation where they do need to make a decision for themselves, well, then everything just shut. They just get a big error. They're just like, oh my God, what do I do now? I need to make a decision. I can't.
Okay, let me see if you're smart, yeah? Everybody, this is a test. Okay. One, you can pick your cone. Yeah, you pick a cone and we put in 1 scoop, which is €1.30. Yes? With 2 scoops, it is €2.30. And with 3 scoops, it's €3.30. How come it is only €1 per scoop? And that's not true because it's €3.30 for 3 scoops.
How come it is only €1 per scoop? Well, you
Yeah,
have the
every
1
time I
cone,
add
which
a
is probably
scoop, it is
yeah.
€1.
So the scoop is so the scoop is €1 then.
And what is then it doesn't fit because I need to pay €3.30 for 3 scoops.
Yeah. So what's
Why?
your question?
Well, why is it not €1 per scoop then? Because every time I add one, it's €1.
Yeah, so all the scoops are €1,
Yeah.
but you already had the initial 130 at the start, which is probably then for the cone.
For the
So
cone.
you
All
start,
right, fair.
yeah.
It's fucking for the cone, the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have given this lecture to university people. Yeah. 23% were only correct. All the other people were like, oh, there must be a choice of toppings, or it is for the plastic spoon, this and that. It's for the fucking cone, of course. This is basic math, basic psychology. You look at what
Common
items you
knowledge.
have. Yeah, it's an all common sense, I would say, but
Common
apparently
sense,
not,
yeah.
right? We would look at the items at hand and we would say, okay, you have a pair of sneakers, yeah, which is $100. You put on a Gucci logo and they're $500. What is the value of the brand?
Well, what was the first number you mentioned?
$100 without Gucci and with Gucci 500.
Yeah. So then the price of the brand is 500. It's like, well, 400 difference, but the shoes are 500.
Perfect. Okay, the value of the brand is 500 and the added value is 400. Two
Yeah.
different words. When people
Yeah.
say like, oh, the value is 400. No, the added value is 400. The value is still 500, right? These are basic, what we would say in advertising, basic shit, right? But these are things that people do not understand. So you never want to talk about postbacks, click URLs, all the technical shit if people cannot even figure out that a cone costs 30 cents. Right? Yeah, I'm sure you're laughing, I'm laughing, we're all laughing, but half of you dickheads will not get this correct, right? Which is shocking because now, hopefully, you'll not forget this. Which I think is a great example of that we need to think more. And of course, these books, they're not gifts, right, or anything, but they will help you understand certain things. Oh, I have one really good example. I was watching a movie. At that time, I'm not a genius or anything, but it's just a really good example, flexing my knowledge. I think I was 16 or 15 at this time. Yeah, I was watching a movie with my entire family. And halfway through the movie, I said, yeah, she killed him. And everybody was like, oh, no, you don't know this. At the end of the movie, she killed him, right? Why did I know? Because in the mirror, it was written in the mirrorage text, I killed him. She wrote in lipstick. But I could just read the mirror sign. It says I killed, spelled backwards with the L, him, right? And everybody was like, oh, how did you know? Well, go back and there you see it. I killed him. That's what it says. So that's how you know. And she was wearing red lipstick, right? But that is like, are you watching a movie or are you watching a movie? Are you reading a book or
Are
are
you
you
paying
reading the book?
attention? Yeah. You're taking on what you see, like are you paying attention to the details? Well, with reading a book, it's like, are you just looking at it and just going through the words, and you're just like, you're reading, like you're reading the words, but if you would be at the end of the page, would you still know what you've just read? Like, would you be able
Exactly.
to, if you finish a page, you're at the bottom, you haven't even spent time reading the second or third page yet. If I would ask you, you're at the bottom of the page, and I would ask you, all right, cool, what did you just read? Like, a lot of people just be like, oh, damn, I don't know. Should I know? They're like, they panic. Fuck, I don't know. I've just been reading. But if you like properly read a book and you just read a page and I'd ask you, all right, cool, what did you just read? Then people would actually be able to, you should be able to give an answer and be like, all right, cool, well, this was about these and these topics. I've just learned this, this, and this, and he explained it in this type of way. If you can read like that, well, then eventually you're going to absorb that information. And honestly, if you want to do it properly, you should read a book twice, at least.
Yeah, or I see a lot of people who use like the highlight marker,
Yeah.
or they
Well, then
make
still read
notes.
a book once, read a book normally once. What you often see is when you read a book again the second time, you notice different things, or you
Of course,
have a
yeah.
different perspective of certain ways that like things that are being explained. You have a different perspective on it. Second time you read it, then start highlighting the things that you think are important, and then use those highlights that you think are important and rewatch them again. If you would ask most people about a book that read 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they don't remember. And you can't really blame people. People can only absorb so much information,
Right,
and
of course.
eventually there's happens so much in life you just kind of forget. But if you really want to make sure that you continue having the same knowledge and build on top, because you can learn a book, forget about it, learn a new book, but then you don't really expand your knowledge. You just gain new knowledge. If you really want to expand, that means you got to also remember all the things that you've learned
Yeah,
and
like
read and seen
building
before.
blocks.
Yeah, like build on top of each other. Means you got to rewatch it or reread it again and again and again. Where you don't have to read the whole damn book, but read the highlights.
Yeah. Oh,
Read the
I have
highlights.
the summaries in my fucking app. I have script,
Yeah, or read a
like an
summary.
Audible kind
That's
of
an
thing.
app for it as well.
Yeah. But in general, I think coming back to our original topic, did I show you the interview with Kanye about turning his back on the culture, right? I think I showed
Mm-hmm.
you last week, where he's like,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's so focused on chasing pussy, being the biggest gangster in the streets. Well, they don't know the United States is for sale. You can buy ground. Disneyland, they purchased ground. He's buying ground in Wyoming. Where this is one classic example of most young entrepreneurs, which I would say under 30, you are definitely a young entrepreneur. Even maybe under 35, you're still a young entrepreneur. I'm not talking about the 16-year-olds who have grasped some money. And when I say some money, I mean $100,000 to $1 million net, not revenue, net profit in your private bank account. If you have this kind of money and you invest it wisely, when you're 40, you'll have 100 million. Right?
Yeah.
If you do not do this, then you're still working on your same thing when you're 40.
Well, then you've probably lost $1 million.
Well, the question is, like, we see the people, yeah, you're right. You probably
You've got
lost $1
nothing
million
left.
or more. People make money and they spend money which they don't have to impress people they don't like, right?
Yeah.
It's just like this whole toxic culture of, well, I was, what I do, I go gym, I do work. Whenever I feel like it, I engage with other people. And that's fine for me. That's my circle, right? That's my high performance circle. I eat the good food. I enjoy my fast food, definitely. But
Pizza?
that's what, yeah, pizza. Everybody knows I'm a pizza guy twice a week. But that's what gets the results that I desire. And if I have disconnected from those people who do not get the results, what happens is they have kids already. I don't have kids. Why not? Because that would, well, you need a wife or at least a woman to have kids. On the other hand, I'm not going to fuck up some
Useful.
random bitch. Yeah, but on the it would mess around with my goals, right?
Yeah,
It,
it
it
takes
would mess
time,
up the pattern that I've
energy.
already prepared and laid out. And that's my advice, or I would say the general advice. When you're young and you have money, focus on making it scalable. Do it again and again. If you can make $1 million, then make 10 million.
Yeah.
But do not settle for 2 million because you will lose it. right? It's harder
So
to
you want
keep
to
the
let your
money
money work for you,
than
right?
make the money. Well, ideally, yes, if that's a possibility. But keeping the money is so much more difficult than making the money, because taxes. Because what is this fucking tax in the Netherlands? If you have over $35,000 cash, you need to pay wealth tax on your bank account. It's only like
Yeah,
0.8% or something, but fuck that.
it's your money. Yeah, you got money sitting in your bank, which is yours.
But if you
And
put
then,
it in
or
stocks,
even
then you don't
even
have
if
to pay it.
you still do when you've invested it in crypto, I'm not sure, but I have to at the end of the year, which is a little trick for everybody. Don't let the government see this. But at the end of the year, I take my money out and I'll just put it somewhere else where they can't see, so I
And the
don't have
next
to
day you
pay
deposit
the.
it back.
Yeah, you just do it on the 31st of December. You just transfer it either to somebody else that doesn't have enough money, or you spread it out to a couple of people. Make sure you make notes on it so you don't forget somebody. But you just give that person 20 grand, that person 20 grand, and you spread it out. And then on the 1st of January, you just transfer it back. You let them transfer back. You hope that they give it back to you.
That they will do
And
it, or
then,
you have to hire a
yeah,
kill squad.
yeah, you have to chase them up on it. But that way you can dodge that type of tax. But tax in general here in the country doesn't make sense.
No, well, I mean, like in
Normal,
general, look what we have. That's obviously the other side of the story. A lot of people complain about tax, but look at
of
our
course.
roads, look at our everything. Everything is so organized.
Well, that's why you got to just make sure that you let that money work for you. Because if you work for a boss or you're just employed or whatever, and you just have an income and you increase your income, you pay 52% of tax, so half of it's gone already. And then if you would just save the money and not do anything with it, you're gonna have to pay tax on the money that's just sitting there as well. You might as well not work and not make the money because you're just
Right.
throwing it all away again. So you got to make sure that that money that you become clever with money, you let the money work for you, and as soon as money starts working for you, you see that there's just massive returns on it. It's like exponential growth on how much money you're worth. And in
And
the
then
end,
it's
net worth is a lot more important than
right.
income.
And at some point, you'll be at a stage where you are not required to have any income, but you're still these assets that you've now allocated to your wealth. They're adding, let's say, 1% a month or 0.5% a month. But the more significant the amount, the more significant the addition to it. So
Yeah.
while you're 40 years old and you start a food delivery company, you start supplement company, you start a software company, all of a sudden you can invest $5 million. You still have 10 million who makes money on the side. You live off the interest that you get. And whether this company is a success or not, it doesn't matter. If it is a success, great, now you have more money and you're doing something you love, and fuck everybody, you can do as you please. That's
Yeah.
one of the, I would
Well,
say, the biggest things, the freedom.
that is wealth, right? They say, I think that's from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Wealth is, I'm not sure if it is, but it's been a while that I've
Health
read
is
it. But
wealth.
yeah, well, that as well. No, wealth is if you would stop working now, how long would you last?
Oh yeah.
Right. So the amount of time that you can buy yourself, that's wealth. Meaning, if you don't have any money saved, if you don't have any money invested, and you just stop working, well, you would last I don't know 5 days without food and maybe a week without water, and then you die, or the other way around. But that means that you can't afford your home anymore. You can't afford food anymore. There's no wealth. That's why, for example, I started investing in real estate because that's just passive income. I could like not work, and there's still money coming in because of the real estate,
Yeah, I don't
and that's
know.
creating wealth.
100%, 100%. I totally agree. But it also depends on how much money you spend. Because what I notice is the people who spend the least have the most. And the people who have the least, they spend the most. I mean, if I would stop working today, I have very little expenses because all I do is work, right? I could live for hundreds of years, which is funny. Yeah, it is funny. But on the other hand, maybe it's a little sad that my expenses are so low because all I do is work. But I wouldn't know what to do if I wouldn't have work. You know, is that's like, I think like if you have that emptiness in your life, that you have no ambition or no goal, especially, that's called depression, you know?
Yeah, but you gotta have purpose. A lot of people that don't have purpose in their life and they're not passionate about something, yeah, they get depressed. A lot of people is what you hear when they stop working, when they get like on their pension, when they're 65, 68 these days. They don't have like a purpose in life anymore. There's no goal attached, and they become depressed because they just wouldn't know. They're useless. They feel useless at least. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves anymore. So having passion, having a goal, having a sense of purpose, meaningful life, having a meaningful life is very, very valuable.
What would you say if somebody says my passion is money? What would they mean with this? Because obviously it's
Either
about
they don't know
yeah.
what they're saying, either they're just hyped because of all the social media stuff. So that might be an 18-year-old kid
Okay,
who's like,
let's
"No,
say I
my
would
passion is
say
money."
my passion is money.
Well, then it probably means freedom. So what you can buy with money. If you're just passionate about money because you can buy a Lambo or you can buy a G-Wagon and you could buy a jet, well, then you're probably just passionate about all the materialistic type of things and that you need money to buy. But that's not meaningful. There's no real meaning into that. But I guess the freedom, because you could do whatever you want to with the money.
Right. I think, yeah, that's why I asked the question. It's really an interpretation thing. It's either freedom or I would say personally growth, right? If you want to go from a car towards a Lamborghini, towards a helicopter, towards a plane, it is not necessarily about the materialistic things. It is about the growth that it takes to, a lot of people say growth as an individual. I think that's true, but kind of bullshit. In the moment, you don't look at growing as a person. You look back right now from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and you see the growth as a person. We just see the growth in terms of the business numbers, the people, the happiness of the employees, which I've
Yeah,
spoken
but
about
they
quite a
do.
bit.
They are related to each other. Like you can't grow your money if you don't grow yourself. Like you gotta
Yeah, yeah.
overcome new challenges
But
and
I
develop
wouldn't
new
say
skills.
I wouldn't say somebody would actively be working on themselves at that stage. I mean, like if you are trying to make your first $10,000, you need to actively work on yourself to create behavior patterns, discipline, right? And
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
people I know that make a lot of money, I would say not all of them, but I would say 85%, which is about 8.5 people out of 10, they have insane discipline. Yeah, they go to the gym
yeah.
five
Which is
times a
something you gotta
week.
develop.
They don't they aren't often as fat, and if they are fat, it means because of the stress, right? They eat too much and they don't exercise. But the people with real wealth, I would say 5-10 million plus, they're all lean as fuck. They're all ripped, right? Most of the ones I know, at least, which is in
Yeah,
the
they're
performance
healthy at
marketing
least.
world, they're healthy. This guy I spoke, the guy with the Aston Martin, right? He has fucking $400,000 car and he cycles to work because it burns him, let's say 250 calendars to go and to go home. He can clear his mind, be in nature and shit. And this car he just takes out on the weekends, which is his
Yeah,
little
because you
toy.
don't have a car to flex. If because then you've got it all wrong. If you just want to buy, if you're just really obsessed with money because you want to get a nice car because you just want to flex on it to get all the girls and stuff like that. Well, then you come back to the whole cheap type of woman and man OnlyFans
Probably.
story. You you attract different type of people and you attract the wrong people. There's no sense of proper purpose if you just focus on all the materialistic stuff. But I love a good watch or a good car, but you buy it because you can when you can just celebrate for yourself or your accomplishments, right? All
Well,
right, cool.
yeah,
I've
as
accomplished this, and then I'm gonna buy it.
reward, right? That's
Yeah, as a reward
primarily
for
it.
what you've done,
But
but
perhaps
not as the main.
on the other side, perhaps, how would you phrase it? I mean, as soon as you realize what kind of effort it takes to acquire such numbers, you might not want it anymore, you know?
Well, I've never met somebody that was successful, or like somebody that is had only the mindset, all right, cool, I want to get a Lambo, or all right, cool, I want to get a nice car, and that's his only purpose. I've never
I
met
want to get
somebody that
many
was
hoes.
successful. Yeah. Well, you could probably do that. That's not that difficult, but yeah, somebody that is solely focused on getting a materialistic thing without any meaning attached to it. I've never met somebody that has done it because nobody's gonna put in so many hours of work and so much effort just to get a car. Eventually, when you start working that hard, you might get through the first couple of months and you're like, well, fuck me, I'm not even close to get a car like that. I still need to develop all these type of skills and I still need to read all these books and put so many hours in it. Am I going to do all that just to get a car? Well, fucking leave the car, right? So there's got to be a deeper meaning to what you're doing. And then you got to know, you got to know your why, which is such a um, original thing to say, or everybody's like, oh, you got to know your why, but you do. you got to have a certain sense of purpose and know where you're headed, because that's only the only way that's going to allow you to actually put in all the work.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good topic for the next one, purposely, because I don't think I have a clear why. But we'll discuss this next time. Thanks, Michael. It was a pleasure
Thank
having you
you.
on for the first time. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our new channel, and perhaps if we get enough feedback, then we'll do a professional setting next time, which will be quite interesting, and we'll discuss the why in business. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.